Aloha, how you doing? It is Dave Lawrence. Big mahalo for catching this, tuning in. We are live in HPR's Atherton Performing Arts Studio, and I thought it was special enough that we were in here with my buddy who I've gotten to see play a lot over the last decade, Jake Shimabukuro. But what's even cooler, this is your first time in the room too.
Yeah, it's my first time doing an interview in here too. You know, usually we're in the smaller studios, but this is nice.
Pulled out the stops for you. Thank you for coming down here.
No, thank you. It's an honor.
It's my pleasure. And this is the room. We do a lot in this room. We're very fortunate. We've had a lot of different kind of performances, interviews. We even have political debates. There's storytelling. Today there's going to be this gentleman who has the Bank of Hawaii first annual Jake Shimabukuro and Friends show that's coming up this Saturday at the Hawaii Theater. Man, is this the culmination of just years and years of effort? What inspired the show?
Well, you know, I've always wanted to, you know, just kind of have my own, you know, show and just invite some friends to come and play and, you know, just get people together. And so, you know, I'm really excited about, you know, working with Bank of Hawaii to do this, you know, working with the Hawaii Theater because it's actually their 90th anniversary this year. You know, it's such an iconic, you know, I mean, such a landmark, and, you know, it's such an honor to play there. I got some friends that are coming to the show that are going to make a guest appearance, and then also working with, you know, Heather Brown, one of my favorite artists. You know, she did a lot of the flyers and the posters, you know, for the show. So it's just a really great positive vibe, you know, getting all these people together, people that I admire, people that I love working with, and bringing it all together, you know, at the Hawaii Theater. So it's going to be fun.
Were there any other artists who do things like that, like this, that were an inspiration to you?
Oh, yeah.
I think of Warren Haynes and the Almonds. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He does this. He calls it Warren Haynes and Friends.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
the same name and everything.
No, I mean, there's so many artists, you know, that do stuff like this. And I think it's just really a celebration, you know. It's like, it's a big party, you know, for me, because you know, a lot of times when you're traveling, you know, when you're on the road, it's nice to kind of come home and, you know, take the show that you do on the road, you know, bring it home and do it here. But, you know, but just make it a little different, you know, make it a little special, you know, and invite your friends and have, you know, some artists that I admire, you know, come and perform. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then, you know, like I was saying, you know, the Hawaii Theater is just a magical venue, and yeah. So you know, I'm looking forward to having my family there and all that, and, you know, who knows what'll happen with my family there. So,
well, that's an interesting thing you said. As an emerging artist, I'm sure a lot of people who have charted your progress are curious what it is that folks on the mainland get exposed to as you continue to become the international touring act that you are. You said, I'm paraphrasing, you said, I'm going to bring that show home to Hawaii. So this is going to be, except for the guest portion of it, the same sort of show that largely you would put on the mainland that folks are getting exposed to?
Yeah, Yeah, I just, you know, this is part of our Grand Ukulele tour. I just released a new album called Grand Ukulele. Right. And the cool thing about this album was it was produced and engineered by the great Alan Parsons, you know, one of my all-time heroes. And you know, so being able to take the songs, you know, off of this record, and then you know, and just you know, just have my own solo ukulele interpretation of them, you know, because on the record, you know, we have an amazing cast of musicians. You know, we have people like Kip Winger, we have Simon Phillips, you know, Randy Tico, we got the Nashville Symphony on there. I mean, so, you know, there's really a lot going on, and it's you know, it's fantastic. I mean, the album is what it is, and I love the way it turned out, and it was such an inspiration. You know, it was such an honor for me to work with all these people. You know, I learned so much through this album, and then, but you know, but to be able to take these songs, you know, like these pieces with a rhythm section or with a 30-piece orchestra, you know, and then adapt them, you know, or
strip them down
to just, you know, just the ukulele, right. And then try to, you know, bring all that emotion and feel, you know, into the piece.
It's a nice concept. I was just curious because one of the things, you know, this record is now, it's being marketed really on a more national level than ever before. I mean, you're really now with this thing trying to go after a much larger piece of the pie, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, I've been very fortunate. You know, I have a lot of great people, you know, on my team that have been helping me, because, you know, I mean, for me, I love playing the ukulele, but that's about it. You know, I just love playing, and you know, and so I'm very fortunate that I have good people around me that can kind of take care of the other stuff.
Right, and help build it out, and
exactly.
Then it maintains the artist aspect can be a lot, I think, more pure if it doesn't have to be you working all the business stuff too. You can concentrate on what it is that the magic that people love, rather than having to be four hats at once.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first person to tell you I'm definitely not a business-minded person.
You said that before.
Like I'm horrible when it comes to that kind of stuff, and you know, and just so. You know, I think, but I think it's great, you know, because then it allows me, you know, I'm very fortunate where I can just think about my passion and just focus on that. You know, I can focus on writing and, you know, being creative, and that's, you know, and for me that makes me happy.
It's a great moment. When I saw that you were working with Alan when I was really young and starting out in radio, and I was just a producer. He came in one time, and he was a special guest. He was promoting, I guess, maybe one of his own products. I don't even remember. I was my early 20s, but I was producing for some famous DJ, and there was Alan. I got to meet him. I thought it was such a big deal. Yeah. And then all these years later, when I saw that, I mean, I've watched your progress, but sometimes there are signposts along the way of big leaps, big, you know, as I said, charting a course, if you will. These are milestones. So when you hear Alan Parsons is involved with Jake's new record, I mean, how does, I've read in your bio piece that you're sending around how it came together, and I'm sure you're telling the story a lot in other media, but if you could sort of explain how in California, however it was, that you and he were merged.
Well, it's funny because he actually came to a couple of my shows, and the first show that he came to, I didn't even know he was there. And it's funny because he did an interview a few weeks after he had attended my show, and he was talking about me on the radio.
And you hadn't met yet?
And no, we hadn't met yet. And Milan Bertosa, my dear friend, you know, and great recording engineer, he called me up and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Jake, you know, I got to send you this thing because Alan Parsons was just talking about you on the Adam Carolla show." So I was like, "What? Alan Parsons?" And so he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to send you this link." And so he sent it to me, and there he was. He was just raving about how, you know, he went to this ukulele concert and he saw this guy Jake Shimabukuro, and you know, and he was talking all about my YouTube video, you know, the While My Guitar Gently Weeps YouTube video, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you gotta check this. This was just amazing." And then so I couldn't believe it, but I didn't know how to get in touch with him. You know, I was like, "Oh man, I don't know if I'll ever be able to meet him," but I just thought that was the coolest thing. And then I did another show in Santa Barbara, and the promoter of that show was friends of Alan, you know, was a good friend of Alan's. And so so the promoter called me and said, "Hey, you know, Alan Parsons is going to come to your show." And I was like, "No way, are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, and he really wants to meet you, and so I want to hook you guys up." So after sound check, I got to meet him, and you know, he took me out to dinner. He took me out for sushi, and because he actually loves sushi, you know, so we went out to it wasn't just because I'm Asian, you know, I mean, he loves sushi too. Sure. So he took me out for some sushi, and we were just talking, and then he just casually mentioned, you know, "Hey, if you're interested, I would love to produce your next record." And I nearly choked on my you know, raw fish, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?" And that's how it started, you know.
Did you not think when he wanted to take you out to dinner that it was to sort of interview you for himself to figure out if this was a project he wanted to do?
I mean, I had no idea. I mean,
really?
I was so starstruck. I was so starstruck. I didn't know what was going on. You know?
Bringing your Alan Parsons project records along.
Yeah.
Alan, can you sign this one?
Yep.
That's good stuff. Yeah, that's the other cool thing about him too, right? Is he has the musical side, which is like, I wouldn't want to be like you. Are you going to make like a little ook jam on that? That could be a nice, and just to put it in your head, you'd be like, "Oh, I never thought of that." Because he has some good jams.
Oh yeah.
Is he coming?
Is he coming to
this thing?
Oh, no, he won't be in Hawaii during that time. But
you say friends, and I'm going to be proper and not try to like push you on who the friends are. Obviously, you want to keep some surprise, and it will be more fun if it's a surprise. You don't want to hear exactly everybody who's coming, but Alan will not be there.
Yeah, Alan unfortunately won't be there, but.
Before we hear some more about the record, I was hoping, because you've got this device and you're such a monster with it, that maybe you'd do a little thing.
Do you
mind doing a little thing
love to
while
play
we're sitting
a song,
here?
actually, yeah.
Then I'll think of some more witty things to talk about, and we'll watch you do your thing. Jake Shimabukuro, his first time ever playing in HPR's Atherton Performing Arts Studio, now. And we did a little sound check.
Right here.
We're not totally unprepared.
Okay, well, this is a song, it's the first track off of the new record, and it's a song that was inspired by one of my favorite TV shows. I call this one Ukulele 5-0.
Tasty. From Grand Ukulele, Jake Shimabukuro, and his inaugural performance here. First of many more to come, I should say, at HPR's Atherton Performing Arts Studio. Amazing, dude.
Thank you very much.
So cool to watch you do your thing there. Have you gotten the chance? I mean, we were joking earlier because you were recording a thing with The Conversation, and you and I were talking downstairs, and I said something about Bela to you. A lot of people on the mainland, they always think of Bela Fleck when they think of you.
Bela has always been one of my heroes, you know.
Yes, I was going to ask, was he a person that you saw as sort of an inspiration early on?
Definitely. I mean, what he had, you know, he transformed the banjo, I mean, into something that, you know, that, I mean, most people never would have imagined that the banjo was capable of doing, things that he pulls off on that,
It's
instrument.
sort of like a model, I guess. That's why I say for the way you're now becoming so well known to folks all the way over in Boston. They think of you. That's why I say that, because they think of you in that sort of world. It's really amazing the export quality that you've brought to the instrument.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just a big fan of the ukulele, so I love sharing my passion, for this instrument with people, and and I think that's the greatest thing about being able to travel and just show people that this instrument, there's so much more to this instrument. A lot of people outside of Hawaii, I mean, people in Hawaii, we appreciate the ukulele, we respect it, and it's a huge part of our culture. But outside of Hawaii, the ukulele is not thought of as the most serious, instrument. But I'm not offended by that at all. I mean, I truly embrace that idea, because when people think of the ukulele outside of Hawaii, a lot of times the first thing that comes to their mind is "Tiptoe Through the Tulips" by Tiny Tim, right?
Seeing him on the Parsons show.
Yeah, but to me, I'm fine with that, because it's a big part of I think the culture of the ukulele as well, because there's an ukulele culture outside of Hawaii as well, right? So, but I think that because people aren't intimidated by this instrument, because they don't see it, they kind of look at it as like it's a toy or it's not a serious instrument, they're not intimidated by it. So because they're not intimidated by it, they're not afraid to pick it up and learn it.
It's a user-friendly instrument.
Yeah, it's a very user-friendly instrument. And I wish that all instruments were like that. I wish people weren't afraid to pick up any instrument. Like when you talk to people about the violin or the cello or the trumpet, or even the guitar or the piano, they think, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I'll never be able to play those instruments. But when you talk about the ukulele, they're like, oh, that looks like fun. I want to buy one and learn how to play it. So, I think that there's something very special and magical about that. The attitude that people have toward the instrument is, I wish that it carried on to other instruments.